There are problems in global research, so it's not all rosy. It's not all nice trips, great restaurants. This picture was taken across the street from the hotel where we'd put up one of our senior forensic advisors in a country. And it has the potential of inhibiting that person ever wanting to go back to that country to do additional teaching and training. But there are huge cultural differences in some of these countries that sometimes can make research a little bit of a challenge. The language differences are probably one of the keys that we see as an inhibitor to research. Right now, the scientific literature, forensic literature is primarily written in English. Hasn't always been that way. French and German were languages of science in past centuries, but now it's English to the point that I think January 1st this year, the World Botany Group decided that you no longer had to describe new species of plants in Latin. You could now use English. They were still named with Latin names, but you can now describe them in English. So I try not to apologize for it. That's just the nature of the beast. The language of science right now is English, so it does cause us some challenges in some of the countries where we work. Cultural behavior I mentioned. There is a resistance to change in some countries where just from I guess a cultural point of view, decisions are often made at a fairly senior level within organizations. Because of that, no one likes to recommend changes because you're going to be perceived as challenging the boss, and that never goes over well. So it's one of those things where, again, encouraging people to be open, to share data, to look at each other's data, to be honest, is kind of key. And that's part of the skill sets that I see is kind of incomplete in some countries. And it's one that is going to have to eventually be addressed by the academic environments. Training in how to conduct research is not something that comes intuitively to people. So I think our graduate schools in the various disciplines need to kind of step up to the plate as far as ensuring that these people know how to do research that is solid and can be shared. The number one problem with funding in most of the countries we're working with is funding. It's just, and I think it's true in the US, there's never enough funding for the work that you need to be done. And certainly in the labs I've been involved with, even here in the US, your priority was to spend your money on doing casework first. If you had any leftover, you would then try to train your people. And then, if there was some leftover by any chance, then you would think about a research project. So funding is a major problem. Because of this driver with research really driving training and driving casework, what we're seeing develop around the world, kind of a trend, is this move toward institutions. An institution being kind of a place where they house all of their forensic sciences, multiple agencies, multiple disciplines, comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes, but allows them to work together as a group to build research into the budget, to build training into the budget, and that ensures that they're then become sustainable as an operation. One of the models I like to use as a future for some of the laboratories we're working with, I use it as a model, is the Institute of Forensic Science in Puerto Rico, pictured here. Under one roof, they do have, I think, 3 different agencies working together, and includes everything from crime scene to all your criminalistic sections and disciplines, but also including forensic medicine. And they're fully accredited. They have NAME accreditation, they have ISO 17025 accreditation, and just last week they received ISO 17020 accreditation for the crime scene unit. So it's not a bad model, and it's one that we like to point to for some of our countries we're working with as to a potential way for them to move forward. So we've been able to look over the last few years, myself the last 12 years, at laboratories in all stages of development. We have finally come around to the thinking that research and development are key to sustainability. Now, when I say research and development, I'm really talking about little r, big D. Primarily, they need to have the capability to read the scientific literature, reproduce others' work, validate it for their own application, train their people on it, and then implement it in casework. And that's key to sustainability in my view. We're trying to develop tools to encourage R&D in different countries. Showed some examples of what we're doing in Colombia, Uzbekistan. We're doing some additional things in some other countries. It's still early days for us. We're not going to be able to tell long term whether this has been effective. I mean, if we look down the road 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, these laboratories are self-sustained, they're doing their own research, they're doing their own development, then we will know that some of these techniques work. So this is still an experiment in progress, and we're still looking at it. So if you have any suggestions on other things to try, please let me know. I'm open to any help I can get. But we are seeing this trend toward, again, national laboratories in these countries working toward the institute concept, where they're talking about casework, they're talking about training, and they're talking about R&D in one organization. Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge my able assistants, Lori and Lindsay, for helping me put this together. Obviously, I don't have the knowledge to do a PowerPoint presentation like this on my own, so thank you very much.